Cassie put her hand on Mrs. C's fridge-cold forearm and waited for her own warmth to expel the chill. "Can you tell me what happened?" she murmured. For a few seconds, nothing. Then she felt the familiar slip-sliding sensation, followed by a distracted dreaminess. At the same time, her senses became hyper-alert, the hum of the body store fridge growing to a jet engine roar, the overhead light suddenly achingly bright. The air above Mrs. Connery's body seemed to fizz with the last spark of the electricity that had animated her for 5 decades. And out of the static, Cassie heard a low, hoarse whisper. "I can't breathe." Chapter 2. As always, it was all over in an instant. It reminded Cassie of waking from an intense dream, your mind scrabbling to hold on to the details, only to feel them slipping away, like water through open fingers. In any case, Mrs. Connery's words weren't much help. Cassie could find no history of asthma or emphysema in the notes, and there was a whole bunch of other disorders that could affect breathing. She was still wondering what, if anything, to make of it, when she heard the door from the clean area open. It was Doug, the mortuary manager, followed by a younger guy, tall with a floppy fringe, who he introduced as Dr. Archie Cuff, the new pathologist. Stripping off a nitrile glove, she offered Cuff her hand. "Cassie Raven is our senior mortuary technician," beamed Doug. "She's the one who makes everything run like clockwork round here." Although he wore cufflinks, and a tie, Cuff couldn't be much more than 30, barely 5 years older than Cassie. A single glance told her that his navy wax jacket was a genuine Barber, not a knockoff, its metal zipper fob embossed with the brand name. And going by his tie, a dark blue silk with a slanting fat white stripe, he'd been schooled at Harrow. Cassie noticed things like that. Had done ever since she could remember. "Looking forward to working with you, Cathy." He spoke in the fake demi-street accent favoured by the younger royals, his smile as glib as a cabinet minister's, but it was clear from the way his glance slid over her that she'd already been filed in a box labelled Minion. Cassie didn't often take an instant dislike to someone, but in the case of Archie Cuff, she decided to make an exception. "Me too," she said. "Especially if you get my name right." A flush rose from Cuff's striped shirt collar all the way to his gingery sideburns, but at least he looked at her properly this time. And from the flicker of distaste that crossed his face, he didn't much like what he saw. Although it was hard to tell whether it was her dyed black hair with a shaved undercut, her facial piercings, or simply the way she held his gaze. She had to fight a juvenile impulse to lift the top half of her scrubs and flash her tattoos at him. Doug's eyes flitted between the two of them, like a rookie referee at a cage fight, his smile starting to sag. "Right then, I'll leave you folks to it." Cassie knew he would probably remind her later of his golden rule. Never forget, the pathologist can make your job a dream. Or a nightmare. After Cuff's brief external examination of Mrs. Connery, during which they barely spoke beyond the essentials, he left Cassie to do the evisceration. She placed her blade at the base of Mrs. C's throat. This was the moment when she had to stop thinking of Kate Connery as a person and start viewing her as a puzzle to be unlocked, unmapped territory to explore. Without that shift of perspective, what normal person could slice open a fellow human being? After the initial incision, a decisive sweep down the sternum laid open the tissue as easily as an old silk curtain. Reaching the soft gut area, she didn't pause but let up the pressure to avoid damage to the organs beneath, ending the cut.